Alrighty, what's up guys? This is Jordan from Pre-Condo. Today we are talking, I've got a groovy project review for you today. Sorry. As I get older here, my jokes will get progressively worse. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. It's a natural course of nature here. So we are zooming into St. Clair and Bathurst. So obviously very connected location, sandwiched between some of the, premium neighborhoods for freehold properties and, just incredibly connected by transit. You've already got a few existing buildings. In particular, we're going to take a look at Rise at 501 St. Clair. Groove here is 15 stories by block developments tucked away on Vaughan Road. So you're still a 5-minute walk away from the stop. But you're tucked away. So it's not as obviously Bathurst, St. Clair, quite a loud intersection. But I really like this project because it is a boutique. It's 152 units. And you've got a lot of terraces and you're kind of tucked away, but still have that access to the transit. So let's get into the project here. Pull open the slideshow. This is what the building looks like on the outside. You can see that red brick groovy accent. That's where the name came from, I'm told. And obviously you've got those terraces all the way up the building because of the angular plane design. So it's by Block Developments. If you're not familiar with them, they've done a few. Junction Square, they just launched. Second generation development family, right? So they come from the Lantera family, so they know what they're doing. They're well backed by very experienced people. In total, 15 stories, 152 units, ranging from 412 square all the way up to almost 1,200 square feet. You got a fair amount of one beds and one in dens here. I believe 80 to 90 one bedroom and one in den units here. Limited parking, obviously floor plate's not huge, right? Only 2 levels of underground parking. So 48 regular parking stalls for sale and then 8 visitor parking and then a bicycle parking spot for every unit. Big draw is obviously you're 5-minute walk from St. Clair West Station. So transit-wise, 100 out of 100. You've got a great transit score in this neighborhood, and you're right along St. Clair. So tons of restaurants, tons of cafes, pubs, that kind of thing. So very walkable community as well. You're only a few stops away from U of T as well, right? So you just hop on, you take a little stroll here, you get on the subway there, and a couple stops away from U of T. This is the building in the winter. And here's one of the terrace renderings here. So like I said, some of these terraces on a higher floor, you've got quite a nice view. This is just I pulled this from the architectural plan. So this is the angular plane. So you have multiple units that have those terraces. And then on the top floor, those penthouse units are 2-level units. And this is your amenities. So everything you would expect to see. You've got a large party room, you have a gym, and you also have 2 outdoor spaces. So you have one on I believe the ground floor here, right? So it's sort of a wraparound terrace connected to the party room, the lounge, the billiards room, that kind of thing. And then also on the 12th floor, you have the outdoor barbecue terrace amenity for shared use. So even if you get a unit without an amenity, obviously you still have, or if you get a unit without a terrace, obviously you still have access to the amenity for the building to use as well. This is just something I pulled from their investment brochure. I'll get into a little bit more detail. Obviously a high absorption rate, right? So condos, not a whole lot of condo buildings in the neighborhood. There are more coming. And I'll go back to the model to kind of show you that, but very high absorption rate. Particularly in my opinion, because there are a lot of downsizers in these neighborhoods, in these pockets looking for condos, but there's not a whole lot of supply, right? And if you look at the average freehold price for this year, so January and February, in this sort of St. Clair Bathurst pocket, you're looking at an average sales price of $2.54 million. And of course, within a 1-kilometer radius, you've got a couple high flyers there in Forest Hill. And this is part of the reason I like boutique buildings. They do well because they have high end user demographic, right? So when you have a high rise, 50, 60 stories, 500 units, you're going to have a lot of investors, especially if the building is newer. Now, as the building ages and investors sell, the building demographic is going to shift over time to be more end users. But particularly with those new buildings, high investor demo, high tenant demo. With boutique, you see sort of the opposite thing. You see more end users into boutiques early, usually larger floor plans, slightly more expensive, and a little bit tucked away from major arteries or major transit. And if you look at the worst point of COVID, so sort of the bottom of the COVID market, which buildings took a beating? The high rise, obviously, because when markets turn, the first people to the door to sell are investors, whereas homeowners are far less likely to liquidate. So buildings, mid-rise and low-rise buildings, 10 to 20 stories here, saw no regression in their pricing, even at the bottom of the condo market, simply because end users weren't liquidating. So there wasn't an abundance of supply in those buildings. Here is a recent sale at a nearby building. This was actually from mid 2021, so this unit would be worth more now. But if we were to head down St. Clair a little bit, so kind of a worse location, right? Because you're not right on transit. So you head down St. Clair, you get to this building here, a couple blocks west. And this is Nest Condos, a few years old now. This particular unit is 894 square feet. It's got a nice south-facing balcony that overlooks the city. It was purchased in 2014 pre-construction for about $650K, and it was sold in 2021 for just over $1 million. Works out to over $1,200 a foot. And again, this unit would be worth more today. Obviously, since mid-2021 to today, we've seen pretty rapid price growth in the condo segment. Here's a more recent sale at 501 St. Clair, directly across the street. You have a, 437 square foot one bedroom. Great layout, but very small, obviously, no parking. Sold for $530,000, so that puts that one north of $1,200 a foot. And again, it just goes to show there's not a whole lot of condo supply in this pocket, but there are plenty of people looking for that inventory. So what do we got going on nearby? Well, earlier I showed you the model of this the building, right? So this is the Groove, and then directly north you have 147 Vaughan. Okay, that's this building here, 11 stories, 83 units. Then you get 32. Where is it? This building here, which is, well, these two buildings really we'll do in together. One is 28 stories, 399 units by Madison Group. The other is 28 stories, 280 units, Hazelview, which I believe is, I think it's zoned purpose-built rental, but it might be combo. But, you know, things change, so it might not end up being purpose-built rental. And then, of course, right along Bathurst and St. Clair here, you get 491, I think it's 491 St. Clair or 1467 Bathurst, depending on which address they go with. 3 buildings by KingSett Capital, just shy of 1,200 units. This project will be, I'm anticipating, quite expensive. And that's not all of it, right? You have some other proposals in the neighborhood. But yeah, no, this kind of gives you an idea of what's coming. Obviously, it's a great place to build density because it's right on transit. But you'll notice that you kind of go high rise here, or bird's eye view, I guess you'd call it. A lot of low rise, right? Lots of low rise here. So there's very few places to actually build that condo inventory that people are actively searching for. And you can kind of see if you head west on St. Clair, you've got some proposals dotted along. You've got 908, 900 St. Clair, you've got Monza condos, but you don't have a ton coming. So it is a relatively supply constrained pocket that's right on transit. And once we head a little bit south here, you know, along the yellow line here, you get to Spadina and DuPont, and you're going to pay, you know, $1,600 a foot for a one bedroom at Freed's Annex boutique project. Gets to Spadina and Bloor, right? And you have Cielo at over $2,100 a square foot. So to me, well, we'll see where prices come in, but to me, you know, $1,500 a foot for this pocket is not unbelievable, right? You've already got resale in the neighborhood trading $1,200-1,300 a foot, trading $1,200-1,300 a foot. So I think this one could be good value. Just depends where prices line up. If you want the price list and floor plans, and obviously it's a 152 unit boutique, so this one's going to sell really quickly. Register at the link in the description or shoot me an email, and we will get the ball rolling on that. And I will see you guys next video.